book review on Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. I think I have like once or twice before. But the fourth book of Harry Potter was the first one I ever read. Like originally, because I went down to my library because at this time I was like 7, 8. And I didn't really feel like buying books then. And my library was like, yep, only got the fourth one. So I was like, well, I'll just start off on that one. If you've read the fourth one anytime recently, it's, I think, the only one with a prologue. I don't know. There wasn't prologues before the first one. If this is not the only one with a prologue, it was introduced in the fourth one. With this guy, snake guy, who's not quite human. It was like so confusing. In this stupid little house, and this caregiver is hurt. Okay, if you have ever read that first chapter, it's confusing enough. Imagine a little like 8-year-old never read Harry Potter. All I know is that there's magic and wizards trying to read that for the first time. Yeah, I was confused as hell. The fourth one was always my favorite Harry Potter book, and rereading it now, definitely still my favorite. It is just perfectly timed out, in my opinion. The other Harry Potter books, you'd spend like 150 pages, mostly like, okay, where are we going with this? And you'd have a little hint of where you're going, but you weren't quite sure of anything. And this one, you have the tournament, you just challenge 1, 2, and 3, let's go. And it was just, it's so greatly timed out. Just, oh, I love it so. Starting off with the Quidditch World Cup. Oh my god, did I love that so. Like, good lord, like, seeing Harry, like, being taken in by the Weasley family, and not even as a friend, it's practically, like, expected now. And Ron wrote him a letter, like, so ask the Muggle family if you can come. They say no, we'll come pick you up anyway. Yes, and I loved, like, when you were at the tournament with the camping tent and seeing people from school and just watching the event in general. I must admit, Ron's little fangirl crush on Crumb at the beginning, that was great, okay? He was like, oh my god, he's the best player in the world. Then, what's the little teeny tiny details that fit in later? I just, oh my god, how could I never have picked up on this when I first read it? Because I was 8. But when the tiny details, like after the tournament, when the Dark Mark first appears, and you have the little incident with Winky, the house elf of the, I forgot his name now. I don't know, some high important guy, yeah. And he stops and he looks behind this bush, and I was just like, oh my god, when it finally was revealed that all of that at the end, I was like, oh my god, these puzzle pieces, man, they just, J.K. Rowling is a genius. Not only does he come up with a genius world, it was just genius plot twisting puzzle piece fitting. The tournament's revealed about what's going to happen with the tournament or whatever, how it's dangerous and deadly, and blah, 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 blah. I loved it how Harry's like, okay, so there's no Quidditch this year, but this year's going to be great. I'm going to sit back, I'm going to relax, we're going to watch the tournament. Me and Ron and Hermione will be in the stands, we'll just be having fun. And like 5 minutes later, his name gets called out of the Goblet's like, oh, well, shit happens. So, new plan, don't die. Can I just say my love for Sirius in this one? He was not around much. He comes out as more of a figure in the 5th one. But just these tiny mentions, like when you'd have a meeting with him in the fireplace or anything like that, it was just so great. Okay, let's talk about, the only thing that drove me crazy in this book was Ron. His jealousy thing was, I was so ticked off with his jealousy thing, and what it was making me really sad knowing that Ron wouldn't be there for Harry, and these horrible things are being written about Harry by Rita Skeeter, how, I don't know, he's still having mental issues with his parents' death, and he's making him seem like some incompetent, complete, I mean, I get that he wasn't up there with the 17-year-olds, but they're making him seem like he's some complete incompetent wizard that couldn't even do a basic spell. Like, what? And The first challenge, oh my gosh, was the first challenge horrifying. I was picturing it from the movie, like, almost exactly. But the one thing they didn't put in the movie was how well Harry did. Is that I think he had like second place or first place when it started. I wasn't quite sure. He's a fantastic flyer. He's the best seeker the school's seen in years or whatever. And you know, they didn't really show how the others like got the egg perfectly fine. And then Harry was like kicking ass. There was no dragon escaping thing, I don't think. It wasn't as dramatic as that. But when he gets injured and he's being cared for and Hermione comes back in the tent and then Ron comes back in the tent and instead of some big apology, emotional statement, Ron's just like, whoever put your name in the Goblet of Fire is completely trying to kill you. And Harry's just like, you finally caught on? This whole mystery of who the hell put his name in the Goblet of Fire is always there too, because it's like, what? You know, Harry didn't put it himself. It's probably a dark wizard. I forgot what his name was. It started with a K. He was the leader of that Durmstrang school. Another thing I really liked was international schools with the fronts, and I don't remember where the other school was from. Dragon, though, I'd have to say would have been my favorite challenge, because just imagining flying a dragon, that was just cool. The egg. Okay, let's talk about Cedric. Cedric is a Hufflepuff. I'm a Hufflepuff, if anybody ever wants to know this. And he's loyal. I love Cedric. He is a good person. I remember, you know, the first time me reading about Cedric, that Cedric won in a match of Harry versus him and Seeker back in the third one when Harry collapsed or whatever. And he tried to give it back, even though it was technically fair, but it wasn't. He was just a good person. And there was no anything against Harry. He was a good person. He didn't even like the social, I call it social media. Can I call it social media? The wizarding social media of the newspapers and the badges and stuff they had. That's kind of like social media for them, I guess. The bullying he had to put up with, and then when it all started with Hermione Granger, oh, what hell can we release on her? He just skied at the end, though. This was never in the movies, and oh my god, it should have been. The next challenge, when Cedric lets it slip that Harry can put the egg in the water of the prefix bathroom, the passwords, whatever. Yes. Yes, I like you very much for this, Cedric. And, there's the whole dance. Harry trying to ask out Cho and that not happening. Yeah. This awkward teen romance is something I really like. One thing I absolutely adore about Harry Potter is he's this big kick-ass hero, but he couldn't flirt to save his life. Never once did he flirt with anybody ever. Yep, nah, no romanticness in him. The second event, I was just kind of almost a bit annoyed that Harry, like, yay, Harry stayed down there and he got Fleur's little sister, whatever. At first I was like, yes, of course that was the best thing to do, duh. And then Ron was like, did you really think Dumbledore was gonna let them, like, down there and die? Like, really? And then it kind of dawned on me, like, well, yeah, I mean, I don't think they could just kill 3 victims for the tournament. But Harry ends up tying for first with Cedric for the other one, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's get to Rita Seeker here. That one was so genius, how Hermione pulled this water beetle out of her hair, and at first you're like, why is this line in the book? And then as it goes on, it's just so good. Let's talk about the grand finale. I think that's what makes this my favorite book, is before this, the anxiety was not as high. There was always the threat of Voldemort, the threat of a bad guy. And now the fourth one, shit happens and Voldemort comes back. The final maze thing, something is not right. You know, when it starts and something happens with Fleur so that Crumb curses her, it was like, what is this? This is some dirty stuff here. So much that I hate Harry for his goodness, saying that both Cedric and him could grab the cup together because, yay, both win. And that was also in Cedric being killed. So many times you just read it over and over again and just like, God, why? Why couldn't this have just happened a different way? No one would have died this way. And this is also the first death, kind of, in the story. Of course, Harry had, quote, seen his parents die or whatever when he was a child, but he didn't remember. This is the first death. He just sat there and watched, and it was just traumatizing. Okay, you know what really, really made me emotional in this? This really got to me, this one. Okay, you meet Bill and Charlie? Is that the other Weasley? The whole big Weasley family. And Harry's just like another member by this time. And before the final task, McGonagall's like, hey, you can go see your family as whatever. And Harry's like, oh, what? Because, you know, his aunt and uncle and yeah, they're not going to really come there. He walks in the room. Mrs. Weasley is there, and the others, oh my, the tears that flowed with that. I was like, oh, this was the moment I loved Mrs. Weasley. She's just his family. And it was so great. The only one that beats that is at the end after the challenge. And then you had the whole challenge. Another thing I loved was Mad-Eye Moody, man. Like, the majority of all the dark arts stuff that comes into play later was introduced in this book. I was also kind of like, though, like, oh, what kind of teacher is this? This scary, scary teacher. Another thing I forgot to mention, oh my, in the movie, it was Neville who gave the, gillyweed to Harry Potter before the second challenge. Dobby was in this one. Dobby's over here giving a gillyweed. I think he gave stuff for Christmas or something. It was so great. I love Dobby so much. I forgot that Dobby was in here quite a lot. Back to the third challenge, okay? Things aren't going right. We're getting some fighting dirty in here. And there's that still big mystery of who the F put Harry's name in the Goblet of Fire. Because now Harry stands a chance at winning. And Harry goes and grabs the cup but has to play the good guy with Cedric. When Cedric dies, oh God, that was like just this innocent kill. Like, it wasn't needed at all, and just, oh, it was so emotional. Watching Voldemort come back, oh my God, was that horrifying. Again, I was picturing the whole big thing from the movie, so creds to them. But it was just like this hand being cut off, this bone being taken from a grave, there's blood, there's this, I don't know what kind of spell this is. The story, it's this tiny story. Thank you, JK, for fitting this in. When Voldemort is talking to his Death Eaters about how he had to live in some kind of forest, and he was less than human, and he had to inhabit snakes. I think that's how he got Nagini in the first place. And the little rat king running through, which was Pettigrew. And then Bathilda was her name, I think. Some woman from the ministry came in and she talked about the tournament, so that's how we knew to set everything up. And later, it was Barty Crouch. Barty Crouch, that was his name. Barty Crouch's son came into the woods, found Voldemort because he's his most loyal follower. It was just genius. And let's talk about Barty. We'll get to Barty Crouch's son in a second here. Then Harry comes back with Cedric's body after seeing his parents kind of come out of the wand, or whatever. It was just that whole scene of his parents there. I was like, oh God. One thing I know they messed up on though was that basically the wand, like the last person he killed would come, and before that, like it was in reverse order, and for some reason, Lily had to come last. He killed Harry's father first, and he killed Lily last, and that was in the wrong order, I noticed, and I don't know if anyone else ever noticed that. If you want to go reread that chapter, but I was like, wait, is this right? He gets back, and there's the whole thing with Barty Crouch's son. Oh my God, this plot twist. I read and I was like, oh my God, I never got this before, and they never really explained it in the movie. With Barty Crouch looking behind the bush for his son, because his son had an invisibility cloak, and Winky having to hide the family secret of Barty Crouch's son escaping, going to Azkaban and his mother who was dying, replacing him so he could escape or whatever with polyjuice potions. It was brilliant. And how the Dementors only like check the emotion status of souls or whatever. It was so cleverly well thought out. I just sat back at the end of the chapter. I was like, whoa. Sirius coming in, and the little dog on the bed. When he comes back into his full form, and Dumbledore is explaining to Mrs. Weasley about everything, you just kind of see the alliances forming, which leads up to the 5th book. And the part that really got me emotional was Mrs. Weasley at the end. Harry's in the hospital for quite some time after this whole tournament thing, whatever he comes back from. And she's just staying there, like, taking care of him, making sure he drinks the potion or whatever. And it was heartwarming. I won't lie. Last thing that I loved, Hermione catching this little beetle, and at first you're like, oh, what the F? And then Hermione explains that Rita Seeker can turn from human form to beetle form, and that's how she knows all this shit that she doesn't know. It was just, I love you, Hermione. I love you. And this leads up. This is a big cliffhanger. You read this book and you're immediately like, oh my god, give me the 5th book. What is this? Because now Voldy's back. There's actually a tiny hint of it. Was Fudge the minister's name? I don't even remember their names anymore because I'm bad with names. When he comes in, he's talking to Dumbledore and he's like, it can't be true, it can't be true. Like, there's a tiny, tiny hint that things aren't going to work out well for them public-wise or publicity-wise. And the newspapers in the next one, it was just such good foreshadowing. And oh my god, the twist and the puzzle pieces coming together. I was like, oh my god, I never got this before. It was brilliant. This is still my fave Harry Potter book. I'm Annalise. Thank you for watching. Bye!